I do feel, and these are the changes that are coming, that like the Villa podcast market's become a little bit crowded. And in the last 6 months, let's say, like 1874 obviously ended with the Athletic. They got rid of a lot of the club podcasts. Me and Greg have started Greg and I have started doing 1874 on the Villa View, and that's by far like the most viewed show.
And that was audio only before, and you bought it to YouTube
bought it and
as
we're
well.
doing video. So I'm still doing like the match previews, the post-match points, things like that. But if you look at the views, which isn't everything, but if you look at it on the face of it, across all platforms, 1874 is getting between 15 and 20k a week, whereas the other stuff's probably getting under. The other stuff will be getting a 10k maybe on a good day of preview, because shelf life on a preview is quite not great, as you all know. So they're getting somewhere between 5 and 10k all in. So I got thinking, and then I've made friends with Dave Reed at Sky, who's a journo for Sky Sports News. He does the transfer stuff with me as well. He's also a very good producer. Like, he does lots of stuff. He's a Villa fan. He started coming on the previews, and then I just started thinking, like, there's not really. I know you're like, I wouldn't class you as a fan channel, Claret and Blue, because you're a media outlet.
Yeah, it's our job.
But then there's all these fan channels, and then there's you, Claret and Blue, media outlet doing podcasts. There's not really anything else.
Yeah.
That's a media outlet. I'd say Mom's to an extent is a media outlet, but he doesn't do video. But then everything else is kind of lumped into one as a fan channel. And this is going to sound terrible, and I don't mean it to at all. But I've had to fight hard to get away from being perceived as like fan media.
Yeah.
And be seen as a broadcaster. So like now, wherever I go on, they say literally broadcaster and Villa fan.
Yeah.
It felt like, because you're in a market with all the other fan channels. Look, no disrespect to anyone else. I'm not having a pop at anyone or slagging any of the other channels off. I'm getting bracketed with fan media, which I feel like I've gone beyond now a little bit. You tell me if this sounds terrible or not. I think you know what I mean.
Yeah. So if you say TalkSport go, right, we need a Villa fan. Stephen Gerrard's been sacked. There's 10 fan channels there. We'll pluck one of them.
Yeah, but sometimes they don't. Let's see. So sometimes they don't want a media person. Sometimes they want a fan, and they come to me because they want the fan. Like, that's like, I don't feel that's. I am a fan, but I don't feel that's where I am anymore. I don't feel that's my space.
Yeah.
And then so there's challenges. I felt that there's challenges with that, just because there's so many Villa podcasts, and fair play. Like, I'm not knocking anyone. Everyone can do what they want and start podcasts and do what they want with it, and great. Like, I think it's brilliant, and I think by and large, like, the Villa fans are brilliant. Like, there's none of this over the top rubbish.
Yeah.
With Villa fans, I think everyone probably offers something different. But then I did feel like it was all starting to become a bit merged, and everything was coming as one. It was starting to harm me a little bit in some of the other stuff that I want to do. The fact that I was still kind of doing fan media, but then I don't want to stop doing it, because I like talking about Villa and having a podcast about Villa. So basically, made the decision. I spoke to Adam. Me and Adam are co-owners of the Villa View now, and spoke to the guys that I'm doing it with, who all, like Neil, Omar, Ty, they've all been like brilliant with it. Like, we're all, it looks like there's been no falling out. Like, we're still much. But I kind of said to them, look, I want to try and change things a little bit. You've all got your own stuff that you do. I want to move Villa View away from being a fan channel. So unfortunately, like, as a consequence of that, we won't be able to do it the way that we've been doing it. I'm quite happy to go on other people's.
Yeah.
But like I said to Neil earlier, I was like, I'm happy to come on your pod and do things for you and talk about Villa with you. But I wanted the Villa View to be something different now, because I just think it's so congested, that market. It's not going to be called the Villa View anymore. You'll still be going out on all the same things that it goes out on, but the Villa View brand is associated with being a fan channel. I associate the Villa View still with us doing fan cams.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
And the cold in the Championship when we just lost 3-1 to Barnsley at home.
Which originally was the point.
That's what I associate the Villa View with being. I thought the best thing to do now, 1874 is the most viewed stuff that we do now on that channel. So change the whole thing and just make the whole thing 1874. Won't be completely reinventing what we do. Like, there'll be some different shows, but I'll still be doing match previews, still be doing post-match shows, still be doing the big 1874 hour with Greg in the week, but just trying to make it more media-based and more journo-based. Really, you could come on now, because you're a journo, aren't you?
If you'll have me.
You like, just trying to make it a bit different, because you're also speaking a different, like, I was finding that I was speaking about Villa sometimes maybe in a different way, maybe not doing myself any favours. Not that I won't say what I think, but you know what I mean? Like, fan channels are kind of one thing, and then I would do 1874 and be different.
Yeah.
I just felt like it was starting to, harm's the wrong word, but I just felt like it was time to now just say, look, I'm not fan media.
Yeah.
This is what I do. Have a podcast, have a show, these shows that are more with journos, and get journalists on from papers and like who are on TV and radio. Like I did a few previews with Kevin Hatchard, who's like a football expert, and people really enjoyed those shows because it's different. Because whether I'm talking about a match preview or whether it's Of the Villa podcast, whether it's Love of Paul McGrath, Villa on Tour do their stuff as well, whether it's all, we're all different people, but essentially it's kind of the same thing. It's a fan talking about the club. I want it to be more like now, like a media entity and journalists on and people who work in the media, because that then separates it from being from the fan media. And it's like I say, it's no disrespect to fan media, because I'll be nowhere without fan media.
Well, yeah, we were kind of the start of that in a way.
All the people that have watched the Villa View, I'd never have done any. I say about the Athletic setting me on my way, but before that, even without doing the Villa View and creating an audience for myself on that and Twitter and whatnot, people following me, like I'd be nothing without the Villa fans. Like I've got nowhere. So I'll be forever grateful and love every single person that's ever watched even a second of what I do. If they've not liked it and they've slagged me off, like I still appreciate it. But I just think that the time's right now with where I am in my career to make that change. So hopefully, like, people will understand that. Hopefully that makes sense to you. I know it makes sense to you, what I've said. Hopefully that makes sense to people, what I've said. But I just think that's the right thing now. And the guys have all been brilliant. Like, we'll all be mates forever. Like, we've created like a special bond doing the content over the last few years. But I just think things never stand, like, you should never stand still. You should also always be looking to evolve and change the way you would do things. Look, if things didn't evolve, then Villa would have never hired Unai Emery. Yeah. So I'm not comparing myself to Unai Emery, but I think it's just the right time and the right decision now to do it. And I went to people and spoke to them about it before I fully made the decision. I spoke to you about it and said what I wanted to do, and you said that's probably the right thing
makes
to
sense. The Villa View was started in 2016, and it was fan cams, like you said, and sharing the voice of Villa fans. That was the point, to hear opinions at a time when it was like, we're not represented well in the national media. Villa's struggling, no one's kind of standing up for us. Let's give a voice to the Villa fans. That was the point. And people who have watched from maybe not necessarily the start, but that kind of early era in the Championship will always associate the Villa View as a fan channel that gives a voice to Villa fans. And if you want to move away from that kind of...
It's not about wanting to move away from it. I feel the landscape's changed. Yeah. So if you... Basically now, right, the way the world is, if you want to have a voice about Villa, you do a podcast. Yeah. Because you can. Yeah. Anyone can buy a mic and do a podcast now. Yeah, look, I mean, you've made a living out of it. Anyone can do that. So if you want a voice, you can do it, can't you? Yeah. You can throw your opinions on Twitter or social media.
2016's it's not that long ago, but it's a very different time that there wasn't the plethora of Villa podcasts like you mentioned.
Loads, and there's ones I haven't even mentioned that are like absolutely.
People will probably take that as a dig.
Absolutely, but I don't mean they were just the first ones that came into my head when I was really off. The two guys in Ireland that do it's called the Aston Villa podcast, isn't it? Like, they're so niche, they're so funny, they're so unique, but they know loads as well. Like, there's so much
Back
stuff.
then, if you want to come and speak about Aston Villa and get your point across, you come on fan cams or you phone BBC WM.
You come on fan cams. That's it. You come on fan cams, we do fan cams for an hour, and then Rollo will cut it down to 10 minutes, and your opinion wouldn't be heard.
So he's chatting rubbish, just cut that out.
Ginger Luke, get rid of him. In a lot of ways, I feel like I haven't really got a choice. Because if I'm saying about not being... I'm happy with where I am, but I'm still not where I want to be. The Villa View isn't like Arsenal Fan TV, where you can do it and it's an outlet and you're making loads of money, and he's created like an outlet off the back of Arsenal Fan TV. Like, it's not a living. I have to be the best I can be and come across the best way I can with the other stuff. Yeah. So ultimately, that's why I've decided to just completely rebrand it. You know, I posted a video on my socials the other day, just kind of teasing what is great graphics from Lee Haynes. Like, nice. He's our graphics guy. Like, unbelievable. The
nice
stuff,
logos.
Nice logo. The stuff he's come up with, he's like, well, I'll release the document that he's done. Like, you've seen it. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous, the length
like a
time he's got in for.
Like PDF.
This wasn't what I wanted, Lee. I just wanted a new logo.
These are the colours that we're going to use.
I didn't even ask him for that video. He just did it. So, nice. And just to thank everyone who's ever watched the Villa View, anyone who's ever taken part in it, like of Dolan and Tom, Matt Lynch, the people that were there at the start. Again, like friends for life now. From you, we wouldn't be mates if it wasn't for the Villa View, would we? Like, and it's like the Villa View's been a brilliant vehicle for both of us. So yeah, it's not a decision that like I made easily, because the Villa View is a massive part of my life and has been a massive part of my life. But I just think it's time to rebrand it and change it for the reasons that are just outlined. Like, yeah, just time for something new, and to make it try and separate it and make it a little bit different. Because people, when Greg's not going on about financial fair play, I think people really enjoy it. Really enjoy the 1874 podcast. So yeah, and again, Greg's someone I'm eternally grateful for, because he got me into the Athletic, because he wanted me to be the one that was doing the Villa podcast. So yeah, been very, very lucky. You have to have a bit of luck as well. You know, I've had setbacks like you will have done, like tons of setbacks over the years with it, but managed to have a lot of luck as well, and fortunate people have liked me and took chances on me and let me in. So yeah, hopefully we'll do this again in like 2 years, and I'll say I can sit down and finally say to you, I'm where I want to be now. I am where I want to be, but I'm not too far away.